The crypto market, as well as the stock market, as well as everything, is dumping. In what many are calling Dumpy Tuesday, people are now calling for Bitcoin to hit $70,000, $69,000. Nice. And even all the way down to $0, potentially even going below $0. With $500 net worth investors that have been in the markets for a couple of months shouting, "It's all over, sell before it's too late, top is in." Is it confirmed that we are now absolutely boned big time? Or are the frightened little scared micro investors with no control over their own emotions and negative net worths actually right this time? So if you understand, it's always dumpiest before it's dumpiest. Hit that like and subscribe. Get signed up with FEMX or BITUNIX below if my Bitcoin altcoins are trade as well. You have 2 days left if you are interested in earning some free stuff simply by signing up below. And without any further ado, guys, let's talk about it. The price of Bitcoin, finally, thankfully, my goodness, I'm actually enjoying this. We're doing something. As I've said, if you guys have watched the channel before, you know that there's nothing that I dislike more than trading sideways. I would rather get dumped on. I would rather get pumped on, just as long as we aren't trading sideways. But I have a fear, and I'm going to share that fear. And my fear is that over the next 24 hours, we get bought back up and we trade within this range again. That's my true fear. That's my major prediction as well. I'm going to be honest. It's, very likely is what's going to happen is that this is going to get bought up and we're going to trade within this range. But ultimately, the next long-term macro trend, absolutely, I believe, is gigglically to the upside. But there is still clearly some pain to come in these markets. Now, before we get into TA and before we get into some news and stuff like that, obviously, everybody has different opinions, right? I'm not here to say my opinion is the only correct opinion and you can't have a different opinion. I could be wrong. You could be wrong. Nobody knows, right? There's absolutely no guarantee that the price is going to do one thing or the other. You might be watching this thinking, I agree with you, Tyler. I think the next long-term trend is going to be upside. Or you could be watching this video thinking, this guy, Tyler, wears diapers and he still wears a booper and his mommy still makes his lunch and dinners. And that's fine. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinion, right? I'm not saying definitively one thing is right and one thing is wrong and you can't have your own opinion. Nobody knows what's going to happen. And that's the beauty of being alive, is that things can get a little crazy, right? And that's actually one of my favorite things about being alive, is that sometimes I like to get a little crazy. Anyway, looking at the daily chart of Bitcoin, this chart illustrates it the best, I believe, breaking down out of this range. This is the range we've been in for the past 3 months, and we're actually now below the range. As I just said, I'm afraid, because my worst fear is trading sideways, I'm afraid that very shortly we're going to do this and then just come back in this range, when in fact I would actually be more interested in an even dumpier scenario, and I'll spend some time talking about that in this video as well. But actually, let's take a look at some big things, some incredibly big things actually. We see that this chart of Bitcoin, we have just dumped to the lowest level of the fear and greed index since all the way back in September. Remember what happened back in September. We had multiple massive dumpulations. Ultimately, we had an inverse head and shoulders that giga moonshotted us to infinity and beyond. And as you can see now on these charts, we are, again, quite low here on the fear and greed index, which indicates people are scared, and it's probably a good time to be entering the market. I'm actually very proud of some people I know. My friend, I was talking to my friend earlier, and she actually said she was going to I don't know what the exact wording was, but basically it was buying the dip, basically, is what her intentions were to buy the dip. And that makes me a proud moon boy, seeing other people I know in real life not be little babies, incy wincy teensy wincy little babies every time I get a little crash. By the way, if we look at Bitcoin, from all-time highs at about $109,000 to where we are right now, we are down 20%. If you've been in this market for more than 5 minutes, you know that 20 to 40% pullbacks in bull markets are routine, are normal. And we are well within. We're actually just now entering what the beginning of like these pullback percentage dumps should look like. So if you're afraid here, guys, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little jaded because I've been doing this for too long, honestly, and I have quite literally read probably millions of I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, maybe millions of comments at this point. I honestly don't know. Enough to be numb and enough to feel nothing when I read comments of people being scared and stuff like that. I mean, it's been that way, honestly, for years. At this point, it's just... But the point is, like, people panic and say the same thing so many times. I don't think I've seen an original bearish comment in, like, 4 years. Meaning, like, people are typing the comments like, oh, top is in, you were wrong, this, that, like, saying all those things. I don't know. I've probably read those comments hundreds of thousands of times. And those people are always wrong in the long term, right? I don't care about them, but I guess I'm just trying to illustrate. Also, keep in mind, I'm making these videos not really because I want to, but because I feel like I have a responsibility to make videos when it's pumping and dumping, right? I find this market honestly quite boring right now. It's dumping a little bit actually, so it's a little more exciting than it has been the past few weeks. But keep in mind, I don't make a ton of money from, at least for like relative to how much money I have, like posting a video today, it's not gonna change my life at all. I'm gonna make like 0.00, like an insanely small amount. So I'm not making this video because I'm like gonna make a ton of money from it. I'm literally only making this video because I feel like I have a responsibility to make videos when the market dumps and when it pumps sideways. I still try to feel like I still try to post because I feel like I have a responsibility to do so. But just keep in mind, if I seem bored or whatever, it's because I am. I'm just making this video because I feel like I have a responsibility to the people watching. And I get these comments every day like, oh, why aren't you posting? And or like, please post. And I'm literally posting because of those people. So if you're out there watching, I'm doing this for you, right? Even if you hate the video, it's fine. You're allowed to hate the video. That's fine. All I'm saying is I'm mainly doing this because I feel like I have to do it. And I also kind of like it. I mean, some days I love it. I mean, and today is actually a day I kind of actually like it more than usual because we're not trading sideways. At least we're dumping. So at least, you know, I feel a little more excited to be making a video today. But anyway, with that being said, a 20% pullback, we could easily see a 30% pullback down to this 100-week moving average. Or sorry, I believe this is the 50-week moving average down here at 75,000 US dollars per coin. That would also actually fill the CME gap we have right around 80K or so, where we're saying we have to come down there. So, hey, I mean, even like if you look at this chart, this whole range right here, a back test of this wouldn't be bad. We could go all the way down to the mid, even low $70,000 per coin. And ultimately, it wouldn't change my idea, my thesis that I think we're going much higher before this bull market ends. So not only I'm not panicking, actually at this point I kind of hope we dump a little bit lower, even quicker if possible. But another key thing to note is that the stock market, the SPX, look at this, it is down. In just the last few trading sessions, we're down like almost 4% on the SPX. That's pretty substantial. Global markets in general are dumping, right? We have a lot of, but also keep in mind the DXY is also dumping. Everything is dumping. Even things that usually pump when other things are dumping as well. Everything is dumping. So to me, the only thing that I think is that this is an opportunity. As I just said, the fear and greed index, we're back in extreme fear. Sentiment is extreme fear. This is typically when you want to buy, right? We haven't seen this type of fear in months since back in August and September of 2024. Things could even get dumpier in the short term. It doesn't change anything. What is this? While you're scared, whales just bought $2.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, as usual. Guys, it's a tale as old as time. Like I feel conflicted because a lot of you agree and understand how this market works. But then, of course, there's new people that haven't gone through this before, and they're scared, and they're the ones leaving the comments like, actually, we'll the bear market's here, and we're going down, and the top is in, and whatever. It's like, you know what? But the thing is, I also don't want to be a complete jerk. I'm not saying that they're guaranteed to be wrong. They could be right. I think it's very unlikely, but I don't want to be completely like rude to people that think that the top is in. It's just that it's very, very unlikely. And the more new people and the more inexperienced people that show up in my comments and say that make me more confident that the top is not in and that we are going to go up. So anyway, we see this as well. Current price action was inverted. If it was inverted, we had just exhausted a ton of extremely bearish news, failed to go lower, and Bitcoin formed said price reaction. So this is actually a bearish take. Basically, what Will is saying here is that trading back up to about 94,000, he's saying would be a bearish retest. So I do want to as well not only highlight the bullish cases, but Will now is I'm actually a little confused because he's like always extremely bullish, but I think what I've gathered is that now he's making a big stance saying he's actually very bearish. I could be wrong, but I believe this is the stance Will Clemente on X is taking now, that he's bearish on the market and actually we're not going up. So that's his opinion here. But also, this is exactly how it feels currently being bullish, right? And this is exactly kind of what you want. I'm not saying it's guaranteed we're going to go up, but this is exactly what you see before we do go up. People like just thinking you're crazy for being bullish. As well, Mike Alfred on X saying when Bitcoin first broke above 100K, millions of people would have given anything to have had the price come down so they could buy around where we currently are. But right now, we did that. We're pulling back, and now everyone's scared. Nobody's buying, right? It's the tale as old as time. I've seen it too many times. I've seen it so many times. It's crazy. Kevin Svensson as well saying he remembers this. Bitcoin is currently down 20% from its all-time high, making this the smallest pullback so far of this cycle. Historically, bull markets have 30 to 40% dips. Will this time be any different? That's one reason. Like, I think it's okay if you're panicking. Well, I don't think it's okay, but I think that I understand why people are panicking right now. But realistically, have we done anything that changes everything and like all of a sudden it's guaranteed like we should completely lose faith in the market and we're going to go down a lot further down and it's now the end of the bull cycle? Because that is the argument I've been hearing more than anything, is that people are genuinely saying they think the bull market is completely over and the top is in. And as I've said multiple times in this video, nobody knows. I'm not saying it's impossible that the bull market is over. Absolutely. Of course it's possible. Anything is possible and nobody knows for sure. All I'm saying is I just think it's very unlikely, and this looks like a massive bear trap to trap bears. Look at this. This is the very first time we've gone below the 21-week moving average since we got above it back in October, like over 4 months ago. That's okay. We're allowed to do that. In fact, that's exactly what we did back here in the summer. And we spent like 3 or 4 months doing that. And then we massively went up. And this whole time, people were feeling exactly how they're feeling now, thinking that we were done, we were dead, and the bull market was over. I mean, if you're, the thing is, man, like you can be 70, this I'm going to go off on a second, but this is actually very relatable. You can meet 70-year-old people, 80-year-old human beings, right? 90-year-old human beings that experience a lot, but they don't retain what happened to them in their life and they don't learn from it. And you can meet 30-year-old people who've experienced not as much as somebody who's 80 or 90, but they learn from their experiences and they retain that knowledge. And my point is, if you do not learn from the past, and if you don't incorporate and try to make sense of the world around you with your own experience and actually reflect massively, then you can be really dumb at 90 years old and have no wisdom. And you could even have a 20, 25-year-old who has way more wisdom and experience than somebody who's 90, because the people potentially, at 90 just did not learn from their mistakes. They never actually reflected on things and whatever. And so this market, the crypto market, is full of people that refuse to learn from the past, that refuse to understand their emotion and understand, oh, wait, a year ago, I was feeling this exact same way. And then the market did the opposite of what I thought it was going to do. What are the chances that we're going to see something similar. I don't know. My point is, though, that this market is it always has been and it always will be full of people that just get scared at every turn. I mean, I even know people that were scared and bearish when we were like doing this move, right? When we were going up, saying, oh, you know. So the point is, like, I mean, I guess in a sense, one of the things I'm trying to say is that very few people, you know, there's only, I don't know, maybe a couple hundred or maybe 1,000 people that make crypto YouTube videos pretty much every day and have to read thousands and thousands of comments every day. It's basically, my point of saying that is that it's very like, oh my gosh, it's so like, it's annoying, basically. It's annoying having to read so many comments and hear so many people cry and make the same complaints year after year after year after year, dump after dump after dump. All I'm saying is I'm going to do exactly what I've been doing for the past 8 years, that I'm now extremely, extremely successful and financially free because of what I'm doing. I'm going to keep doing the same thing. And personally, I think that this is not going to be as bad as people think it is. I mean, really, actually, what is your worst case scenario? What is the thing people are so afraid of? Because realistically, if Bitcoin, let's say that this was the beginning of a bear market. Let's say the market is topped. Let's say that Bitcoin is not going to $150,000 this cycle. Let's say that, I don't know, what is the target people are calling for this bear market? Let's say 30K. Let's say Bitcoin goes down to 30K in a couple of months, and we sit there for 2 years or something. And then what? Like what? I'm just trying to figure out what are people so scared of? Granted, I talk primarily about Bitcoin. This is a Bitcoin channel. I do talk about alts 5% of the time, I would say, but 95% of this channel is talking about Bitcoin. And I understand that alts usually get destroyed more than Bitcoin. However, I'm looking at the side of my screen. Bitcoin is down 5% right now. Ethereum's down 4%. ADA's down 5%. Solana's down 1%. Render, XRP is down like 4%. So actually, Bitcoin's down more than a lot of these other alts right now. But again, I'm very bullish. I mean, to sum it up, I'm very bullish on this space. I would like to even see this pullback come down. F it. Let's fill the gap down at like 79, 80,000 on the CME. Come down even to the 50-week moving average. Sure, I would. You know, I already have most of my money invested, but I would actually, by then, I think I would have more money that I could just invest right here, and I would be very bullish on a bounce or something like that. But I guess what I'm struggling with is that people now, it seems like majority of people think that this is what's going to happen. And I just have a really hard time believing that makes any sense, considering the same people that are saying that are the same people that have been wrong about this entire last 2-year run up. And believe me, if I'll admit if I was wrong, right? I have no problem doing that. I'm wrong all the time in life, not even just crypto. Sometimes I'm just wrong with things. That's okay. I'm okay with failing. That's part of being successful, is failing a lot. But if we do end up just, you know, maybe we're trading here, we do something like this, and then in a couple of weeks we're up like this, do you think that the people that were commenting and that are commenting right now saying, oh, you're wrong, we're going to whatever, do you think they're going to come back to the comments and say, hey, actually, I'm sorry, I was wrong, you were right, we actually went up? No, of course not. Those people they're going to be the last ones to ever admit they were wrong, right? So keep that in mind. A bunch of big babies. And get signed up with FemX below if you want a free chance to just win something big or small. You only have 2 days left. Without further ado,